So things that I would be doing differently before the program, I really struggled with taking on board what other people were saying, and that I guess what people were saying really impacted my confidence. I could go into something feeling really confident and then get a piece of feedback, and then that would be detrimental to the rest of my day or that meeting or a piece of feedback. You can take it on board, but take it on board confidently and take it on board in your own way, and then kind of think about how you can move through that. About halfway through the program, I got asked to speak at a conference with 200 delegates, and I was feeling very nervous about that. And I was really glad actually that we had finished the program by the time that I spoke at that conference. I think that previously I would have kind of doubted myself and really said, I'm not really too sure if I'm ready for this speaking opportunity. And instead of saying yes straight away, I probably would have, in the conversation been like, oh, are you sure that I'm the right person to be asking? Instead, I said yes. And then when it was time to head up on stage, I felt really good about, where I was, how prepared I was, the feelings just within me, I guess. By the time that I was speaking, I was really clear on my values. I was really glad to have some really positive feedback from that speaking gig too, which I had some really amazing women and mentors in agriculture come up and say how well I'd spoken. And obviously juggling kids and kind of aspirations careers wise is quite, it's a tough time. And so one thing that I've been really enjoying is volunteer roles. So I have taken on a volunteer role as a board director. You can start gaining some really good experience ready for, the future. I guess in terms of the Acts of Confidence course and the board role, what I found really useful is just feeling like I'm more likely to speak up in those board meetings. This being my first board role, it can feel quite daunting when you have an opinion, you're not really too sure how people are going to take it. Just using kind of some of the skills that we learned to really kind of make sure that my voice is heard in the boardroom. Highlight for me in terms of the structure and the content was the weekly Zoom meetings. I just found them so good, and I guess just the feeling of, everyone being so welcoming. So I obviously had the kids in the background pretty much every meeting, and that's just hard to juggle sometimes. But being able to jump in and have that moment with everyone, and when we break out into the breakout rooms and have other people there and they're just completely fine with the kids being in the background and still being able to participate in a course because of the way that it's structured is really important for me. Having this opportunity through the Agri-Futures Acceleration Grant to complete the Core Confidence program at this time of my life has not only been good for me as a mum, but also as I continue to kind of try to build my career while I'm also having, a bit of part-time kind of work and things like that. When I received my results from Kate about my increase in confidence, I actually wasn't surprised because I could feel it within myself. So I got a 60% increase in my confidence between my first kind of test and the concluding assessment. And I can feel the difference. So I think the most valuable part for me in terms of an increase in my confidence is knowing my value and my direction and kind of where I stand, kind of in a bit of a transition point between two different career types and two different industries. It's been really good to kind of really step back and reflect and gain, that confidence to be able to be like, no, like I am ready for these next steps in this new industry. The increase in confidence for me feels like instead of being slightly afraid to say to people, oh, I'm working in the ag industry, which I would have been afraid of before, I very willingly say I'm a farmer. Then internally, I think it's kind of about the fact that, before a speaking opportunity previously, I would have been really nervous, probably thinking about how I could have gotten out of the situation. Whereas this time I was really excited. Speaking in front of 200 people is a pretty big deal. But I really felt like I was going to bring something to the room. Whereas previously I would have felt like, why would anyone want to listen to me? What I have to say is important, and I can feel that within me.